Welcome back to the Hoof Football Podcast, Season 2, Episode number 4. And I can say with mild pleasure that the part-timers are back. Charlie, how was Tunisia, mate? How was your time?
It was all right, mate. I was on a quest to find Wahbi Khazri, just to get him on this podcast, and sadly, I was unsuccessful.
Okay.
Yeah. Apart from that, it was
Yeah.
all right.
Did you search far and wide? Did you really look?
Yeah. Apart from maybe leaving the city I was staying in, Hammamet, and maybe going as far as about 60 miles from there, I wouldn't say it was a huge effort from myself.
Well, what's the point then? What's the point?
Sorry, lads.
Yo, did you find any forgotten ballers on your week away?
No, I did not. I was ill, unfortunately, so I was just rotting in the house.
Shocking, shocking. You could say you were the forgotten baller there. That was open there. That would have been open.
No,
Um,
just forgotten. Not baller.
Go on, Josh. You've got something to say. How's your week been?
It's been all right, pal. Came and see you yesterday, obviously.
You did. You did. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
that.
But
That's right.
yeah, glad you remember.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice trip through Media City. That was nice.
yeah, throwback to over UCFB days. It felt weird walking past that building.
It's like Mecca.
That's all the scaffolding's gone, by the way.
Oh yeah.
There's no
Oh,
scaffolding gone.
it's
Like
great.
now now we
Four
got.
clock's also gone.
I know, gutted.
Rest in
And
peace.
shoot Warrell.
Yeah. Lewis, you were away this weekend. How was that, man?
Yeah, it was nice. Just went back. Oh, my towels just fell off. No, I just went back home to see my family. Yeah, big up Mansfield. Do you know what I mean?
How's Mumsy? She well?
She's good, thank you. Yeah, it's actually a birthday tomorrow, and it's my brother's
Oh,
birthday today. So if you're listening, Tom, happy
well.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Tom. Everyone, give him a happy
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 birthday,
birthday,
Tom.
Tom.
birthday, Tom, and happy birthday, Lewis's mum. We won't ask for her name. Um,
You're not getting that.
no, well, I didn't ask, mate. That's fine. Um, well, on that bombshell, I think we'll move on. So this weekend, so last weekend technically, Ollie Glasner's Crystal Palace beat Liverpool with a cracking goal from Eddie Nketiah at the end to extend a quite frankly ridiculous 18 match unbeaten run across all competitions. It could be 19 by the time you're listening to this because they've got a Conference League game. Is it tonight, tomorrow night, sometime? Um, yeah, it's the longest unbeaten run in Europe's top five leagues as it stands, and they are at time of recording only the third team in England's top four leagues to still be unbeaten, alongside Coventry, who play tonight when we're recording, and of course handsome Robsborough, who somehow got a point against Stoke last night when we were shit. So, in light of that, we decided it was high time we ranked the three best and worst current Premier League managers, with the only stipulation being that you can't have Pep because he'd be at the bottom. Um, so we'll start with the top three, and we'll start with Joe Edgar. I want you to give me your third best manager in the Premier League right now, please.
Do you want an explanation or do you just want a name?
No, explain, mate. Go for it.
Well, I've gone Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth. I
Okay.
think as a Newcastle fan, I watch their games more often, obviously. So when Bournemouth have played against Newcastle, they've absolutely battered us basically every time since Iraola's been in charge. I think his football is very exciting. I think he's adaptable, so he can play a bit more defensive or change the system a little bit to go against the top teams, but also against the teams further down the division. He's started to set up attacking enough to be able to get the wins. So I think yeah, he's got it's not an average squad at Bournemouth, but there's a lot of change. It's not top quality. So for him to be able to get the results that he has, I think is has been very impressive.
Yeah, he's undoubtedly doing a good job. Josh, you gave a little reaction there. Is that because you've by any chance put him in the same spot?
Yeah, for fairly similar reasons. But I was kind of saying how, like, when he first got there, the defense weren't exactly like no one was exactly talking about it. But then, especially last season, there were a lot of pundits praising the defense, and the fact that he's lost what four of his back line from last year, like his main starters, and he like once again this season we've looked quite good at the back.
I mean, it's wild how far he's come, considering he was, people didn't want him in over Gary O'Neill, and now here he is as
Yeah, exactly. It's
the
mental.
third best manager in the Prem. Charlie, you're pulling some faces. Tell me, you might be thinking, but
Yeah. I mean, Iriel was a good shout, and I was close for going for him, but I actually instead went for Fabian Hertzler from Brighton. And you're probably going to look at me with a shocked face for that, but
I
honestly,
have.
I think it. And hear me out for this: the fact how on his debut season for Brighton, And bearing in mind, this manager is only 32 years old and hasn't really had that much experience. Managed to take Brighton just outside of the European place last season, I think was incredible. I mean, the fact how I'm sure he's only lost like 12 games, I'm sure, for Brighton for when he's been with them. It's like over 50 games he's already managed, only 12 losses. And I think from, again, like I'm saying, like as a manager who hasn't had that much experience, I mean, the only credible club he's been with is St. Pauli, but that was in the second division of the Bundesliga. And the fact so he's had to take that pressure to join Brighton, and of course, not the club wouldn't have really expected much from him, but the fact how he actually did manage to achieve not European football, but at least a decent place in the Premier League, I think is great. And I think to the start of this season, it has been a bit up and down for Brighton at the moment, I think. But especially with that win against City, I can't see why he shouldn't be placed as a top three for best managers.
Well, I can. I think your argument there was that he's done a lot at 32. I mean, that doesn't really better than Iraola, does it?
But if you could, but like compare that to like again, like Iriola's had experience. You've had other managers who I'm not going to name just in case anyone's got them on the list that have had plenty of experience. The fact how he on his debut season with Brighton, I mean, he's only managed two other clubs before Brighton to then head into the Prem straight away and to achieve what he's done. I think that's worthy of being in the top three. But that's just my opinion.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion, mate. Lewis, have you got anything to say?
Speaking of experience, I've gone for David Moyes. And I know it's a shock, right? Undoubtedly, there are many managers in the league that are probably on their day tactically much better than David Moyes. However, I think longevity wise, and also if you think specifically with the clubs that he's impacted and what he's done for them clubs, you take Everton under Sean Dyche last season. I think they had a long winless streak. They were really poor, and number of seasons they've been just hanging over the kind of relegation line. To then have David Moyes come in where they got 8 wins and 4 draws. No, sorry, 8 wins and 7 draws and only 4 losses since he came in. And I just think the way that he's came in and just changed the atmosphere around Everton, obviously coinciding with their new stadium. But I think he's the perfect manager, obviously on his return, where he's got this brilliant way with kind of players where he manages to uplift kind of bad situations. If you take even his stint at West Ham, look at how they fell off now since he's departed in terms of he took them obviously to European kind of glory with the Conference League. He also got them to I think he recorded the highest ever points tally as a West Ham manager when he got them obviously into the top 6 one season. And I just think since then, people thought there was going to be this new dawn under Lopetegui. And then obviously we also have got Potter where it's not worked out. He's that manager that he does go under the radar in terms of he doesn't always do something incredible and amazing, but longevity wise, consistency, I think obviously 716 Premier League games overall. I know that he's not the flashiest manager, but I just think he deserves to at least get a credit in terms of someone's top three, and it's mine.
I mean, I can tell it's yours because you've said it. Okay. Intriguing. I think it's a better shout than Hurtsler, if I'm honest. I think. Yeah. I think you can't give it Hurtsler. He just doesn't have the. I know your argument is he doesn't have the experience, but that's I feel like where you can't give him it. Lewis, who have you got to? Go on, keep us rolling.
I've got another surprise, I think. I've gone with Marco Silva. Maybe it's not a surprise, but I know that there are managers, and this is my main thing. I know with this, I wanted to just think in terms of what have they done for the clubs that they've came to, and what are the objectives and like the aims of that club, and how that's kind of worked together. And I think Fulham, we've had that kind of era of Fulham where they were up and down, they were constantly changing their managers, and there was a lot of instability, and they were similar to Norwich in terms of constantly kind of bouncing up and down. And I think with Marco Silva, he's got such a tightly knit squad, such a small squad in the Premier League. They've not always kind of backed him in terms of the transfer market. He's not always got his targets at the club. This summer, he had to wait till kind of deadline day to get Kevin across the line. And yet, somehow, as a tactical kind of manager, he always manages to get the best out of that tightly knit squad that he's got. And I just think that kind of man management in terms of how he gets the best out of the players and how he knows what he wants. He is someone that as a manager is very controlling, and that has been he has been criticised for that at Fulham, where he's not changed his tactics often enough, and in big games that has kind of gone against him. However, he's got a very good record against the Big Six, and he has come up throughout his time at Fulham. He has got some big results. As a Chelsea fan, he's beat us a number of occasions, and I think he just manages to take a team that you'd look at and think there's not really any big players in that team. There's not anyone that's special in that team, but he manages to get the best out of them. And I think for me, he deserves a lot of credit.
I don't mind it. Joe, I saw you make a facial expression a little. You thinking that's a hot take, are we?
It's not necessarily the shout, but if we're doing a top three, you've definitely missed out at least one big name.
No, I know that, and obviously
There's
my preface would be that I know that there are far bigger managers out or better managers, but I was more looking at some of the managers, for example, that are the best. You look at like they've got a lot more backing, or they've got a lot more money, or their objectives and things like that are very different. So I was thinking more. It might be outside the box, but I was just thinking more, what have they done for the club that they've been at, and more around the scenario. But yeah, I know there are better managers in terms of on their day and the tactics and things.
Well, who's your next big name that you think is missed out, Joe?
well, my number two and number one were very close, but I've gone for Unai Emery.
Okay.
I think talk about the objective at the club. Villa were not fighting relegation, but they were very near the relegation zone when Unai Emery's come in. He's then got Europe twice in a row, 3 times in a row, sorry. And they just look like a completely different team, even still with a lot of the players that they had before. And I think the football he's playing is a lot better, obviously. They're competing with the very best teams in the world. They almost completed a comeback against PSG. Obviously, we saw what happened with them at the end of the Champions League. So I think he's just completely transformed the team. He's improved players significantly. And I think obviously his record at other clubs outside of Aston Villa give him a big reputational boost as well. So I think he's definitely second for me. I think he was very close to being first, purely based on his experience. But yeah, I've just put him second.
Anyone else got Unai Emery at two?
I do as well, yeah. I
Same
mean,
reason, or?
I don't really. Joe's basically said most of what I would have said about him. Really, I mean, again, like what he's done with Villa in that space of time he's been with the club, and again, getting them into European football, which obviously to start off with, before he even joined Villa, that didn't seem like a possibility, and he's again improved players so much. Obviously, getting to the Champions League, I think, was really impressive. And it's one of those where I think now with Villa, you can actually see him. If they were to play, for instance, of course, in the Conference League or even the Europa League, you can see him as a big team that can contest in that competition. And I think that's all through what Emery has done with the club.
Hmm. Yeah, I think Emery's a great shout. I think he has to be in the top three for me. So I'd agree with that. Josh, who have you got?
I've gone for Thomas Frank. I he took what Brentford side who were kind of pushing for playoffs, but getting like not giving a proper push where he could maybe get in. Actually brought him up, um, and then he's made Brentford into a solid Premier League team now. Of well, first year he had a struggle, but it's first year back in the Prem, which is understandable. But I think last season we kind of pushed for Europe in a way. Um, and obviously, I'm not saying his system's like world class, but one thing I do like about him is he's got the no dickhead policy at every club, so there's no egos. Um, but I feel like sometimes you need the odd one or two egos because they can be your game winners. And the fact he's done that without what I'm not saying is like he's had bad players, but it's like some of the players who came up with Brentford have made themselves into decent Premier League players now. Um, so and obviously now we've seen what he's doing at Spurs. He's created to because it's a very much changing dynamic from what we've seen with and the fact that the players are doing quite well at the minute, Tottenham. Obviously, it could all change by the time we put this episode out, but the fact that he can move to a bigger club with bigger expectations and get them playing well straight away with I think that just shows how good of a manager he is.
I mean, they are doing well, but they have just drawn to Bodo, Clint, and Wolves in the last two. So I'm not saying I'm not saying that takes Thomas Frank out of it, but I think second is high, if I'm honest.
Yeah, well, I've left out Arne Slot completely. I feel like it's unfair to put him in.
Well, who have you put top then?
All right, Glasner.
Okay, bring it back.
He's obviously 18 undefeated. We don't exactly spend a lot of money compared to the other teams which are in Europe. He's lost two of the best players in the last 2 seasons, obviously in Eze and Elisa. We know we're going to lose Mark Gay in the summer. Um, and it's one of them of if you he's won what an FA Cup, a Community Shield. If you had told me even 2 years ago, probably maybe three, oh, it's going to be Liverpool Palace in FA Cup final, no City Palace, sorry, in FA Cup final, and Palace are going to win. I think there were no chance, but the fact he can go to obviously bigger stage, like how many of them players actually played at Wembley before in that big of a game? Like probably one, maybe if that. Um, and he can go toe to toe with Man City, which I'm not saying it was the best season last year, but they're still a dominant side, and then go obviously beat them. I'm not saying we're probably the better side, but it's about like it's not really about that, is it? It's the fact that a fairly unknown team as of 18 months ago can go to an FA Cup final, beat City, and then playing the Community Shield against what we saw with Liverpool last season, how dominant we were, and then go beat them as well. I think that just shows how good of an idea is for me.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's definitely a fair shout to be in the top three. Has anyone else got him at one? Anyone else got Glasner in there, or has no one else put him in the list? That's
18 undefeated, lads.
I think not having him in your list is a bit wild, especially when you got Fabian Herzl in there, surely.
Just didn't want to be boring, to be
Are you
honest.
telling me Fabian Herzl's a better manager than Glasner?
No comment.
Christ.
Well, who's your one, Charlie? Give us a comment.
I've gone. Oh, I feel like I've gone really boring with number one, but I have gone with Mikel Arteta, and
Oh,
yeah,
Okay.
and I know you're thinking, oh well, what has he done with Arsenal? You know, he's barely won anything for them. I think personally, for me, the fact how when he started off, it was a really like shaky stint he had with them. Obviously, they weren't doing well. The fans were absolutely despising. They wanted him to get sacked. Stayed committed to the club, didn't resign at all, and suddenly you saw this progress from Arsenal where they're actually fighting for a Premier League title, which is something that you wouldn't even see beforehand before he actually joined. And I know he's not won the Prem, like it's been bottled multiple seasons, but I just think the fact how he's still been at least consistent with the club and performing in the Premier League. And even with like European competitions, I mean, I know that's always kind of been a bit edgy for them because, again, like they've not really reached the final, but they have come close on a few occasions. And even with cup competitions, I know they've, again, like bowled them so many times, but I just feel as if the fact how he started off and then now how he's consistently performing with the club, understandably, like compared to different managers, like Arsenal have a lot more money, so fair enough. Like it's a stupid shout, but for me, the fact how he's come from being this manager who's almost having like the fans say to him, "You need to get out of the club." It's just there's you're performing well under the bar that's been set, and now he's exceeded that and actually trying to push Arsenal for a Premier League title, which hasn't happened, but who knows? Maybe it'll happen in the future.
Charlie, did you just call your own shout stupid?
I said maybe a stupid shout.
Okay. Anyone want to jump in here and have a go back?
I've got a point. So I went with Unai Emery as number one, and just to kind of show a comparison with actually Mikel Arteta, Unai Emery has averaged 2.26 points per game at the Emirates, right? Which is the most ever for like at the Emirates Stadium. Put that into perspective, Arteta's managed 297 games for Arsenal. Unai Emery only managed 78. And yet at the Emirates, like obviously that record kind of shows just how many points more he gets. I also think like obviously not you Josh said about Arnie Slot in terms of I haven't put Arnie Slot in for mine either because I just thought obviously I thought to be fair everyone would think oh he is a very good manager, but I didn't really want to go with the obvious answers. And I just think with Mikel Arteta, I felt like your main argument, Charlie, was that he's harshly done by Arsenal fans as being the best manager in the Premier League, which there's many managers out there in terms of on their day and tactical kind of class that are much better. Obviously, we've said Glasner, I think Iraola. I think obviously there's probably other ones out there. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything.
Joe?
I can't believe no one else has put him on the list, by the way. But my number one's Eddie Howe.
I knew that was
I thought
coming.
this was a I thought this
Well,
was
that's
a
a cop
fairly
out.
obvious I thought this was a fairly obvious answer. For him not to even be in the top three, I think is mental how he's just ignored. I still think clearly then he's quite underrated actually. I think when he's come to Newcastle, he's taken over a team which hadn't won a game. Got Federico Fernandez, Kieran Clark at centre half, John Joe Shelby, Jeff Hendricks at centre mid. And just 2 weeks ago, they were favourites playing against
Burnley legends.
Barcelona in the Champions League. Like, if that doesn't show how far he's taken them, then I don't know what does. At Bournemouth, when he took over at Bournemouth, they were struggling financially as a club. They were close to going bust. They had a 17 point points deduction, kept them up, and then he's taken them to the Premier League. And now they would just accept that Bournemouth are a Premier League team that are challenging for Europe. But that's all done on the back of Eddie Howe. I think like even what he's done with Newcastle in terms of individuals, people forget how bad Joe Linton was, but now he's regarded as a very good midfielder. Isaac, even before he came, was an okay striker. He scored 6 goals before he signed for Newcastle, and now he's regarded as arguably the best striker in the world. Like he improves every player he works with. He's taken Newcastle to the first cup, Champions League twice in 3 years, and for him not to be in the top three, I think is mental.
I mean, I would have him in the top three. I'm assuming we've all just discounted Slot here. I'm assuming no
Mhm.
one's decided to just put him in, unless none of us think he's in the top three.
I don't think I'd maybe have him in third, but I don't think he's better than Emery or Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe
Oh,
could do what Slot has done at Newcastle, but Slot couldn't do what Eddie Howe has done at. No, have I said that the right way
other way
around?
around, you mean?
Yeah,
Other way around, yeah.
Yeah.
it's not
It's one of,
the old Klopp Pep debate that.
Slot. It's one of them for me. He's only been a year,
Yeah,
and and people always say, oh, he only made one signing, Chiesa, but he still had one of the best squads in the league. Like, I'm not being funny.
that's
And
not.
also, City had a bit of an off year last year. I'm not saying it's like I'm not saying they didn't deserve to win the league, but I see if you put if City get back to the best and it's one of them of then we'll see what it's really like for him. Obviously, we saw it for years with Pep and Klopp. I think it was 18, 19 when we were literally going head to head every week. Whereas we're waiting to see someone to kind of really challenge Slot and like Slot's Liverpool.
Hmm.
Because as we saw, League are over fairly early, realistically. Um, so yeah, once we see a bit of a challenge, we might see it this season with City slowly getting back to maybe where we used to be. Um, so yeah, but once we see a proper challenge with Slots Liverpool, then we can debate if he's in the top three.
Well, fair enough. Um, yeah, okay. I mean, has anyone got anything else to add, or are we kind of set on that there? We all got our lists.
No, I think Eddie Howe's a very good shout. I think I kind of overlooked the likes of Iraola and maybe Glasner just because of their recency in arriving to the Premier League in terms of the last 2 seasons. Obviously, Glasner, I think in terms of what you've just said about Slot, I would give Glasner obviously more praise in terms of what he's done at Crystal Palace, and that's quite obvious for the reasons why. And obviously, he's got that pedigree in terms of he did an amazing job winning the Europa League, I think, with Frankfurt as well. So he's clearly obviously a very good manager. And obviously, some of my picks in terms of David Moyes and Marco Silva was more just kind of, I think, going along the lines of like someone that's more under the radar and what they've done for the clubs they've been at. But I obviously, as I've already said, that there is, as we've just kind of said, there's many other managers out there, Eddie Howe being a very good example in terms of that consistency and longevity. of like what they've done at the club they're at, which are probably better options to be fair. So that's a good argument.
Perfect. Well, that's the definitive long list of the top three managers in the Premier League and Fabian Herzl. So we will be back after a short break for the bottom three. Welcome back to Hoof It. It's time now for the worst three Premier League managers. We're going to run this a little bit differently because I think there's probably less of a debate with the bottom three. So we're just going to hear everyone's bottom three and go through it from there. Starting with a certain Mr. Josh Lucas. Who's your bottom three, Josh?
So, Charlie, you're going to love this one. Arteta.
Okay.
So,
Bottom three. Okay,
yeah.
that's a bit wild.
Well, it's one of them. As we saw against Newcastle, he was celebrating the draw. I get we might have won, but he was happy with a draw. And it's one of them. I don't get how you can spend so much money. It's a bit like the United problem, but we'll get on to that. Well, and you come so close, and but then we're getting knocked out in like the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, like not exactly getting far. With the amount of money he spent, it's one of them of you should be winning something.
Okay.
He's not exactly getting the best out of some of the players either. Like, remember, Martinelli used to be one of his main men, and then brought Trossard in, and people forget Martinelli even plays for Arsenal at points these days. When Arteta just pushed him aside when there's still a good player in there. Anyway, I've
Okay.
then
Take it
got
on.
Daniel Fark.
Okay.
This might come back to bite me, but he can't keep a side in the league.
That's a risk when you're fighting with him.
Yeah, I know. So,
But
and also because my manager can't do that either. So
is he at one by any chance?
I don't really have an order, to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, who's your other
A
one?
bit of shit, really. A bit of shit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the fact that if your fans are wanting you to be sacked, even though you've just won the league 100 points, that shows he's doing something wrong.
I mean, to
Like,
his credit, they've had
terribly
a pretty
wrong.
good start.
Yeah, they have, but it's early doors yet. Sunderland look good at the minute.
Yeah, sadly.
And then Ruben Amorim,
Yep, fair.
self-explanatory, really.
I don't need much explanation there, yeah.
But I'll tell you what I've got. I'll put time and effort into this, I promise.
All right, mate. No worries.
I feel like his tactics they just don't work in the Premier League. It's like the Premier League's too open for it. I read something the other day. There's only one team that's won the league with a 3-4-3 formation, and that was Chelsea.
Yeah, but didn't Palace take them to the FA Cup with the same formation?
Oh,
I said won the league. So.
No, but you're saying that the formations work in the Premier League, but he also uses the same formation.
Yeah, but Glasnow's coached it into the players, and he's got the
Okay.
players
No,
for it.
I'm just asking.
and
And
Glasnow's the
then,
best manager in the league, according to Josh. So
yeah, exactly. And it's one of them. Conte made Victor Moses look like one of he probably one of the best players in the league that season. To be fair, um, and I feel like the whole obviously I get he's taking a lot on with the whole Rashford situation, all that lot, but I think he's taking too much on. And then when you're trying to coach players a whole new system, I get he's had like a year with it now, but how many players have actually played that type of system like in that team? I imagine not many of them because we're not winning games. But I just think because he's still as we saw at Brentford, he couldn't adapt. We're being overrun in the midfield. So then at that point you think, oh, you know what, we'll change formation and go for a three in midfield. But he's stuck with his same 3-4-3 and it's cost him in games because as I said, they're overrunning in midfield and we're not obviously not an attacking formation. But when the wing backs go up, a lot of the time we're not getting back. So when it's becoming 5 against 3 a lot of the time, and then that's when we're conceding goals. So I think because of he don't want to move on from his system that he did well at Sporting. I feel like it's costing him a lot.
okay then, Lewis, let's hear yours, mate.
Number 3, although he doesn't probably deserve him, if he doesn't really deserve to be here, but it's a personal bias because I'm a Chelsea fan. But Enzo Maresca, because I've had enough of him. Also, I think it's the same thing with the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United a couple of seasons ago, where to reach that next level obviously fans were basically saying he's doing well for us, but if we want to win a title, he's not the manager to do it. And I feel like with Enzo Maresca, it's a similar situation in that he's won the Conference League. However, I think that's as high as his ceiling is. I think now we're in
World
the
champions,
Champions
man.
League.
He's still world
What?
champion.
Yeah, we're the club world champions, but what a shit competition that is. Also, I think it's like that's as high as his ceiling is. I think he's going to really show in the Champions League. Yeah, we won against Benfica last night, but I think when we come up against them bigger teams and the kind of better managerial kind of presence, I think that he is going to struggle. And I think I'm not going to blame him for the signings because I don't think he has that much control over the signings. And I know he's got an inflated squad. And I do think he's a good manager. I just think for what I want out of Chelsea in terms of what I think we could be capable of, I don't think he's the manager to deliver it. And I do think he's very stubborn with his tactics. I think if you look at the United game where it fell apart and he made some kind of irrational decisions in terms of taking off, well, he took off Neto for tossing, like that just didn't make sense. And he was very quick to kind of rush in with some of his decision making. I think that he has got kind of weaknesses there that might not be the one. Second, I went with Scott Parker just because you could have gone Daniel Farker, kind of vice versa, but both of them have kind of got teams up in the past, struggled. And, you know, are they capable of obviously keeping a team in the Premier League? We'll have to see this season. And then number one, although it's very harsh again, I went with Keith Andrews at Brentford. The reason for this is I think he's inherited what Thomas Frank did. And that is harsh in terms of there's a lot of changes with the signings this summer and there is a big kind of squad overhaul. But I think the actual kind of philosophy of the tactical identity is very much the same. And I think how the club is run, that's kind of more on the higher up and how it's run compared to the manager. And I think I've got to stand by Martin O'Neill, who he didn't like him because Keith Andrews criticised him at Ireland. So that's my final number one.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. I think not having Amarim's a bit wild, but we'll move on. We'll go to Charlie.
So at 3, I've gone with Daniel Fark. I think that in the Championship, he can be a solid manager. Obviously, he can at least get the teams promoted, but in terms of keeping in the Prem, it's just never the case. Obviously, with Norwich, it did kind of look promising that maybe he could, but he didn't keep him up. And I think with Leeds, although they have had a decent start so far this season, I can't say that they're going to stay up. Although that is kind of biased because I absolutely despise Leeds United.
We all
And
hate Leeds scum.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes, we
And
do.
I think as well with how the fact he couldn't get Leeds back into the Prem from the prior to the season they were relegated as well was quite shocking. For number 2, I've gone with Ruben Amorim, probably the most obvious option to have on your list, I feel. Not saying your list is bad, Lewis. It's just what my
No,
personal.
I have my reasons, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. Ruben Amorim, I mean, the facts how, like, obviously, like you saw with him on the microphone at the stadium making all these promises after he took over in charge and made United probably a bigger meme than Ten Hag did. I mean, the players are absolutely all over the place with the likes of Onana, who's been an absolute embarrassment, Delo. Even Bruno Fernandes has gone downhill. He was seen as a big player for United, and I think he's generally his talent, even though it is still slightly there, is not as good as what it used to be. And
Plays a bit
especially
of
with
a
United finishing so far down last season in the league, I think it's absolutely terrible. It was just lucky that they at least got to the Europa League final, which is maybe the best bit of credit you could maybe give him last season. And then at number 1, shouldn't be a surprise, is Scott Parker. He's not a Prem manager. I don't think he can keep clubs up in the Prem. I'm sorry, Josh, but Burnley are going down.
Yeah, fair.
What he did with Fulham, I think it's just the football he plays is smart in the Championship. Like defensively, it's great. But when you go up against a Premier League side who have far more better quality attackers, it's just never going to be the case that they're going to be able to compete. I know, obviously, again, like you've seen with a couple of games with Burnley this season, how, like Liverpool, for instance, they managed to actually hold Liverpool until literally towards the last kick of the game or through a penalty from when they won the game. But I just, like, again, with what he's done with Bournemouth, yeah, he got them back up into the Prem, but was never looking like he was going to really keep him there. And then Fulham, it just never really looked likely he was going to keep him up then as well. So I don't see Parker competing with any other team when he's managing the Premier League. So that's my number one.
All right, and Joe, we'll finish this with you, mate.
Well, all of mine are in other people's lists in
Okay.
various forms, so that's fun. My number three is Keith Andrews, just purely because he's so new. We don't really know much about him. I think it's quite hard to judge him so early and rank him above other managers who have like had different achievements in different forms. Number two, I've gone Daniel Farke. I think even at Leeds, he's got them promoted, but the season before, when they lost in the playoff final, they should have walked the league that season with the quality that they had. So I think even though he has got them up, it can always be held against him as well. I think even with Burnley in the league last season, Leeds still should have absolutely walked it. I think with a different manager, they probably would have done. And then my number one is Ruben Amorim. There's obviously the main thing is formations, but I think for me, if I was a Man United fan, I'd get so frustrated at sticking to one single formation. Formations are supposed to be flexible and they're also similar anyway. If you play a 4-2-3-1, you move the 10 yards forward, you're playing a 4-4-2. If you move them 10 yards back, they're playing a 4-3-3. Like the formation is such like a small aspect of the game. I can understand like keeping to your philosophies and whatnot, but a philosophy shouldn't be a formation in my opinion. It should be, oh, we're going to play out from the back, or we're going to get it wide and cross it to a big man, or we're just going to go long to a big man. But the formation should be adapted on your squad to suit that philosophy. It shouldn't be the formation first, if that makes sense. So I
Even the
think
Pope can't get him to change it. So, what do you expect?
so. I just think a good manager should be able to adapt to game situations, different opponents, and someone who's reluctant, like just straight up refusing to change no matter what the results are. I think that's just a sign of a bad manager.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. I'm surprised Amarim's not in everyone's bottom three, Lewis.
Yeah, but I think it's just because, like, at the end of the day, how long are people going to? He has done terrible at Man United. I'm not avoiding that, but how long is the manager going to be the primary scapegoat compared to the players in the system as well? It's not just down to his tactics. The tactics are bad, and he does need to be
Yeah,
more flexible. But the players have got to take some responsibility. I also think, in terms of when he's come to United, the expectation that people think he's going to bring and like what he's going to do. He was a man. He was a ex-player that basically did well at Sporting. There's not much there in terms of what he could like. He shouldn't be coming in and doing a transformation of how good he should be. So
yeah,
for
but
me, it was like,
he could
no, I
play.
know he's been terrible. Like, I'm not avoiding that. I'm
He
just
could just stop
thinking in
playing Bruno
terms
at
of,
six.
no, I'm
And
just thinking in
not
terms
playing
of
Mane.
his actual reputation wasn't that good. Well, it wasn't like amazing, or he didn't have the experience before he came here. So I can't really judge him too much off that. And I think it's one of them things where he's doing really bad, but there's other factors there where like this is not just him at United. This is a number of managers at United. But obviously he's had the worst, which you can't really avoid that.
Yeah, I mean, if you give Glasner or Emery that squad, they probably get Europe. So you know, simple as. Give it Hurts they win the league. Sorry to keep digging on you, Shirley. Well,
Right.
that's that bit done. We will be back shortly again for a quiz, and Josh loves quizzes, as we know.
Get in.
There it is. There's the get in. We'll see you in a minute. It's time now for part three of the Who Fit Football podcast, and it's time for the quiz. Get in. We've got 5 questions as per, and we're going to start with question one, as one must. So, question one. Monaco are hosting Man City on Wednesday evening, which is this evening when we're recording, for the first time since they knocked them out via away goals following a 6-all draw across 2 legs in the 2016-17 UCL round of 16. How many of the goal scorers can you name from those 2 legs?
Right.
And you're
For
having
both teams, yeah.
for both teams. So there were 12 goals scored. I want you to name me the goal scorers for those goals. You can have a minute. Why not?
Was that
What?
where
Sorry.
we were?
What year was this?
2016-17 season, Shirley.
He's only asking so we can
Okay, so
Google it.
that's
Claudio Bravo is going in.
He might have scored.
Wait, did you say there was
An own
12
goal.
goal scorers or 12 goals?
12 goals.
Okay.
Is
Was
that
he
where
playing
Sané's
City?
his back tattoo came from?
No idea, mate. I didn't know Sonny had a back tattoo. I don't spend a lot of time
Have you not
looking
seen
at
it?
his back.
Is
To
it?
be
He
honest.
got he got a back tattoo of him of his celebration that game in the second leg, and he got knocked out.
Oh,
It's just across his back.
well, I mean, if you're correct about that, you've just given everyone else a point. So
Is it really bad that I
Yeah.
can only remember the Monaco players, not
no,
the
I mean
City?
I
that's a
think that's
very
good, if
memorable
anything.
thing.
Yeah.
You got 30 seconds, lads.
Oh God, I've barely written anyone.
Remember, it's 6-all. So
Oh, we'll have a guess with this guy.
Do we have a limit on how many players we can write, by the way? We can't just write.
12 probably. Yeah.
I can tell you the amount of goal scorers if you want.
Yeah.
So then we don't just write the
There
entire
were
team.
4 goal scorers for each team.
4 for each, okay.
Okay, okay.
Oh, right. Oh, God's sake, I
I
can't
need
remember.
one more. I need one more for City.
Gonna have to get an answer, please.
Oh, this is bad.
Right,
Oh no.
10 seconds.
Really bad. Ben, can you please just choose me and get mine out of the way? Because I barely even have 8, to be honest.
I'm
No, you
quite
can go
happy.
first, Charlie.
Quite happy.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Good. Charlie, you can go first. Go on, I'll be nice.
Right. I'm just getting like I can for some reason my brain's really not working. I can only think of 4 players
Right.
who possibly might have scored. So I've got
He all
Sergio
scored two.
Aguero.
Okay.
I've got Fernandinho.
Right, okay.
I've got I can't. Was Kylian Mbappe playing at the time for
Yeah, he was playing.
Monaco? Then yeah, I've gone for Mbappe, and then I can't remember if he was. This might be wrong. I've gone with Thomas Lemar as well.
I respect it. He was in the team.
All right, nice. That's the only 4 I've got. That's what I
What
could
you
think
got?
of.
Okay, cool. Lewis, we'll go with you next.
I had Radamel Falcao. He definitely scored. He did a good chip in the first leg. I think the first leg was 5-3. Kylian Mbappe actually used to be called Kylian Mbappe Lotin. So if you haven't got Lotin, you know what I mean? I think that should be penalised.
I
Sure.
disagree.
Second leg, I'm pretty sure Timu Bakayoko scored, but I might be wrong.
Okay.
Sergio Aguero definitely scored. I went with
Okay.
Nicholas Otamendi. Nabil Diarra was a guess for Monaco, but then David Silva and Yaya Toure were also guesses.
Okay. Josh, we'll go to you next, mate.
Leroy Sané, as I gave it you all. So
I want listening.
Radamel Falcao,
Yep.
Kylian Mbappe,
Yep.
Sergio Aguero,
Yep.
Thomas Lemar, Raheem Sterling, Fernandinho,
Oh.
and Bakayoko.
Okay. And Joe?
I had Mbappe, Thomas Lemar, and then Falcao, and then I don't even know if he was still there at this point, but I put Bernardo Silva.
Okay. He was.
And then for Man City, I put Aguero, Sterling, Sane, and De Bruyne. All the attacking players. Hopefully, some of them are right.
Okay, I can reveal it's close between 3 of you, and Charlie's a mile behind. Charlie's on
As
2 points
expected.
after that. The actual goal scorers were for Monaco, Falcao with 2, Mbappe with 2, Fabinho with 1, and Bakayoko with 1.
Forgot
Oh.
Fabinho there.
And for
Yeah.
City, it was 2 for Sane. So I don't know how none of you else get that, seeing as Josh gave you the answer. 2 for Aguero, 1 for Sterling, and 1 for Stones. So it's,
Oh, okay.
as we stand, Charlie on 2 points, Lewis on 4, Joe on 5, and Josh on a big old 6. Next up, question 2. Real Madrid headed to Kairat Almaty in the second round of the Champions League phase on Tuesday night. But where were their opponents from? Were they from Tajikistan? Were they from Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, or Kyrgyzstan?
Do we have to know how to
I'm
spell
not
this?
spelling man.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yep,
I'm done.
yep,
Well, I'm done, but I don't know if I'll spell it quite right.
that's fine, mate. Just tell me which
I've,
one
I've
it
just
is.
I've just put a letter of
Great, okay. Well, 2 of them start with a K, so that's great.
no of A, B, or C.
Joe will stop you, mate.
I've gone for, oh, can you see that? Oh,
No, I can't. Just tell me.
I've gone for Kazakhstan.
Okay. Charlie?
I went Uzbekistan.
Okay.
I almost said that wrong as well.
You did, yep. Josh?
I've got Kazakhstan.
Lewis?
Oh, I've made an error. Yeah, I've gone Uzbekistan as well.
It is Kazakhstan.
Come on, it took him
Ah,
10 hours, 11 minutes to get there.
It is Kazakhstan.
And we know that because I wanted Newcastle to get him so I could go.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Question 3. Borussia Mönchengladbach and Eintracht Frankfurt played out a 10-goal thriller on Saturday, with Frankfurt coming out 6-4 victors away from home. But how many hat-tricks were scored in the game? Was it 0, 1, 2, or 3?
Yeah, I'm done.
yeah, I'm done.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Lewis, we'll start with you this time, mate.
I think it was 0.
Okay, Josh,
I put 1.
Charlie,
I also put 1.
Joe. It was 0.
Oh,
Yes.
Lewis
trick
gets the
bloody
point.
question.
Lewis gets the point. Charlie, you can't win from here, just a heads up.
Yeah, it's fine. Taking part that counts, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess, if that's what you want to believe. Question 4. Rangers rescued all 3 points late on at Livingston on Sunday, with a former Championship player scoring in the 4 minutes into stoppage time. I've really worded that terribly. Who was it who scored? Was it Rabbi Matondo, who did play for Stoke in 2021? Was it Joe Rothwell? Was it Kieran Dowell? Or was it Max Aarons?
Hmm.
Really?
I've got
Wait,
mine.
can you repeat the order? Sorry, so I know the letter.
Rabbi Matondo, Joe Rothwell, Kieran Dowell, or Max Aarons?
Come on, Roof.
He's not on the
You
list.
still there?
Lewis, you done?
Yep.
Cool. Josh, you go first, mate. Should have started with
Matt
you,
Aaron.
should I?
Yeah. Cheers, Matt.
You got Max
Matt
Aaron.
Aaron.
Okay,
Yeah.
Lewis,
I went with Joe Rothwell.
Charlie,
I also went with Max Aarons.
Joe.
The Max Aarons.
It was Max Aarons. Max Aarons
Oh,
is the correct answer,
put him down and then crossed down.
which
Oh, yeah. Bad old chestnut. You're
just
on a
said that
phone
last
now.
time,
You
mate.
crossed him out.
just for vibes, so we don't have a draw, just in case. This is worth 2 points. This final question.
Can it be winner takes all?
No, it can't.
Yeah,
Charlie
please.
will win.
No, it can't.
Please.
Ipswich host Norwich, on Sunday in the 79th edition of the East Anglia Derby, with both sides currently residing in mid-table. Can you tell me the last year that Ipswich won the derby and the closest answer wins? 2 points up for grabs.
It's not
Is it
like
gonna be
a
like the
trick.
rest of your questions where it's like,
They're always ancient. They're always like
yeah,
well back in the day. But I don't know.
1862 is last time. Yeah,
Is that your guess, Josh?
yeah. There you go.
12 BC.
Yeah, I'm done.
Everyone else done?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Joe, we're going to you first.
I've gone 2014 because
Okay.
I don't know whether they beat them when they were last in the championship, so I sort of tried to go in the middle.
Okay. Charlie?
I went with 1983.
Okay. Josh?
Like 2012.
Okay. Lewis?
1978.
Well, the correct answer is 2009. So Josh Lucas takes home the quiz.
The one time he doesn't do a 19 something.
Josh Lucas takes home the quiz. It's back-to-back wins. It's back-to-back 10 plus points as well.
Hey, what can I say?
The final scores this week for the quiz, starting from the bottom, we've got Charlie Oxtoby on 3 points.
Yes.
Wow.
You
Well
got
done,
one
Charlie.
win. Well done, Matt.
Well done, Charlie. We've got Lewis Eady on 5. Well done, Lewis.
Cheers, Matt.
Well done, mate. We've got Jedgar on 7. Well done, Jedgar, who's decided to sit so far back we can only see his head. Oh, he's gone. And we've got Josh Lucas on a big old 10. Well done, Joshy. Well done,
Figures
Josh.
out, boss, sure.
Charlie, mate, you did cheat in the quiz, but it's time to redeem yourself. It's trivia time.
Right, so speaking from the beginning about my quest to find Wahbi Khazri, which
fucking
was
hell.
unsuccessful.
Here we go. Yes.
Obviously, he has played in the Prem before with Sunderland, and he made 35 appearances with Sunderland in the Premier League, but only scored 3 goals. Can you name the 3 teams he scored against?
Oh, fuck no.
Why would you do
I'll give
that?
you the seasons as well, just to,
Okay,
to
thank you.
clarify up. So it was between
Yeah,
the
16.
2015 to 16 season and 16 to 17 season. He was with Sunderland in the Premier League.
Right, so I'm just picking random teams that might have played in the Prem at that point.
Yeah,
Middlesbrough,
or you could
Real
think
Madrid,
about who
sure.
he scored against. There's probably
Okay.
God, if you've got the ball knowledge, you'll probably remember the first goal he scored.
Remember it all worldy. I don't know who it were against.
Honestly, I don't even know if these teams are in the Prem at this point.
I'll just give you. I'll give you just a bit of
That's
time.
it. I only remember one.
Mate, this is hard.
Oh, you know what? We'll
Test
chuck
three.
it. We'll chuck in this for vibes.
I've got literally no clue.
This is just complete stab in the dark.
Be about
Oh
five.
no, no, oh, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Have we all got three teams?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go one by one. So, Ben, we'll start with you.
Oh, Christ. Right. I don't even know if these three teams were all in the Prem on these seasons, but I've gone Aston Villa, I've
Okay.
gone Fulham, and I've gone QPR.
Okay. Joe, you're next.
I've gone Palace, Stoke, and West Ham.
Okay. Josh.
I went Palace, West Brom, and Newcastle.
Okay. And Lewis.
I remember he scored a free kick, I think, against West Ham. So I went West Ham, and then Man United and Hull City was a guess because you're a Hull City fan.
Right. Okay. So, Ben and Josh, you didn't get any of the teams.
Yeah, I thought so.
We all do.
Joe and Lewis, you both did get West Ham.
Yeah.
Lewis, you also got Manchester United. That was his first goal he scored, I believe, for Sunderland. Well, especially in the Prem anyway. And then the other one, which I'll be honest, Lewis, I thought you were going to get, is against
Chelsea, don't tell
Chelsea.
him. Oh, I thought I was.
He scored,
Oh,
and he scored like a really good volley against them. I can't remember what the score was, but it was. I remember it being a screamer.
Great.
So yeah, there you go. Well done, Lewis, for getting 2 out of 3 teams.
I know this will sound like I'm lying, but I did have United and Chelsea down at one point, so
oh yeah.
Should have stuck to your first instinct.
should have done. But what can you do? What can you
If
do?
anyone have a lie to tell?
Shut up. Shut up, you prick. Honestly, wins the quiz twice and thinks he's all big. Right. Well, thank you for listening to the Hoof Football Podcast. We'll see you again for episode 5, where I probably won't be there. So someone else will have to take you through this whole rigmarole. But best of luck. Enjoy your week, and we'll speak to you next week. Bye bye.